We've been using the online version for David Knox training since it's come out. He goes around the world finding the best of the best and finding out what they do. Success leaves clues, and he goes and follows those clues, and we try to implement that into our daily work environment.
Hello, I'm David Knox. Welcome to Knox First Tuesday number 100. Productive, profitable, and professional. Those characteristics are the mission of all 100 of our Knox First Tuesdays, and I thank you all for participating over the last 8 years. Here's a quick overview of the videos. Hello, I'm David Knox. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's get started. Answer the phone. How are you feeling? Is it possible your offices sound a little bit like this? This is KFT number 36. That means it's our 3-year anniversary of doing these the first Tuesday of every month. Welcome to Knox First Tuesday number 50. Number 50. 50. Negotiating multiple offers. I am joined by all my friends in Minneapolis. Say hello. Open house follow-up, and guess where I am today? We are shooting Knox First Tuesday live in front of my subscriber members right here. And we will continue to focus on the things that count because we want you to enjoy the viewing, learn from the best, sell with integrity, and make enough money to support your lifestyle. So in this video, I'm going to review some of the key methods that stand the test of time. The objectives are to review some key points from the past 99 KFTs, to encourage you to go back and select specific videos to watch, and to keep you focused on the things that matter. So let's focus first on KFT02, questions that turn prospects into clients. I've said forever, the key to being a good salesperson is not knowing the right answer, but asking the right question. And no matter where you get your leads, you've got to determine who is motivated to move now, and move now using you. And here are the 3 questions that I'm going to recommend you begin with. Number 1 is, how much longer do you plan to stay in your current home? Right now, as we shoot this, you're in a listing inventory shortage. Imagine if everybody you run into, you have a casual conversation, say, by the way, how much longer do you plan to stay in your home? And you're going to get answers like, funny you should ask, we're getting transferred this month, or we're going to be there forever. So that question, you've got to ask everybody from this point forward, every phone call, every call in. Question number 2, you know this question if you've been watching any of the KFTs, and that is, of all of your friends, who do you think will be the next to move? Who do you think will be moving next? You can use this on sphere of influence calls, knocking on doors, whatever. But of all your friends, who is going to be the next to move? And it replaces, do you know if anybody's going to move? And number 3 is, may I contact them? That's going to be the basis of everything you do from now on. Then, when you're with buyers or people call in and it's lead calls, these are the 3 questions I presented forever. Number 1, how soon would you like to be settled? And if their answer is, in about 10 years, I think you can let go of those people. Number 2, how many homes have you seen? Or a good corollary is, how long have you been looking? Either way. And question number 3, if you found a home today that met your needs, what would you do? Great open house questions, great questions for buyers. Next, let's take a look at KFT04. No difference, no deference. This gets you into commission objections and selling value. So the question is, will people pay for value? I'd like each of you to think of the last car you purchased. At the time you were making that purchase, were there lesser priced vehicles available? And in most cases there were. So for those of you who paid more than the others available, I ask you the question, why? Why would you knowingly pay $5,000 or $10,000 more for a car? When I ask people in audiences why they do that, they'll say, we got better horsepower, we like the brand, we like the mileage, we like the storage space, GPS, they go on and on and on, all about the things that they like better. So the message to you is you have got to show your points of difference, because if you don't, you're going to be seen as a commodity. And a commodity is when item A and B and C are all identical. There's no difference between them. That would be sugar, beets, wheat, gold, cell phone minutes, insurance, things like that. People look and they say, well, I can't tell the difference between them. So if you're looking at 3 items, 3 flat screen TVs or whatever, and you can't tell the difference, the question is, how do you decide which one to buy? The answer is you pick the least expensive, because it becomes a price purchase. So if somebody's looking at Realtor A, they look at you and Realtor C, and they cannot tell the difference between any of you. They go, well, let's go with the one with the lowest commission. So oftentimes when you get a commission objection, it's because they cannot tell the difference between you and your competitors. So the question has to be, what is your difference? So we take a look at Realtor A, B, and C. And when you quote different commissions, maybe your commission is higher than somebody else, and the question they're going to ask is, well, what's the difference? And if all you have to say is, I charge more, you got to have something better than that. So you need to know your difference. So your whole goal based on KFT 04, and the message from that was, you need to have a difference, be able to sell the difference, have them recognize the difference, and be willing to pay for it. So another key point here. Let's take a look at 2 commission rates. This is your commission, this is your competitors. And the seller says, well, we're going to list with somebody else, and they charge, let's say, 1% less. Major point. You don't have to sell your whole commission. They already agreed to pay this much commission of your competitor. So if you take that over here, all you need to do is sell one little tiny percent difference. You take this little tiny percent and you talk difference only. You don't talk the whole thing. You just say, let's see what you get for this additional 1%. And then maybe it's a $350,000 home. You go, you know, we're talking $3,500 difference in our fee versus the other one. And then what you do is you take this $3,500 and you contrast that to all the features and all the benefits of you and your company. And maybe you sell it sooner, maybe you sell it for more money, you have a lower expiration rate. So you balance the $3,500 to this. And if the other company sells homes for 1 or 2 or 3% less than asking price, well, there is the difference in your $3,500. And by the way, as it relates to this chart, next time somebody says, well, the other company charges 1% less, here's what you do. You turn to the owner and say, I appreciate the fact that you have an opportunity to pay less for the other company. But my question to you is, if our fees were the same, who would you list with tonight? Powerful question. They'll say, well, if the fees were the same, we'd go with you. And you go, great, why? And they'll say, well, because we like your marketing, we like your reputation, we like your internet services, we like the way you handled our friend's home, and they start itemizing all these differences, which I talked about in the last slide. You say, well, do you now see why our fees might be a little bit higher? That may be the most powerful technique I'll give you on this. And by the way, one of the ways to get rid of commission objections is to have no prospects, no clients, and no listings. Here's a way to not have any clients at all. Just don't answer the phone. And that's what a lot of realtors are doing today. They don't answer the phone. I have been ranting about this for 20, 30, 40 years and still nobody answers the phone. Please, you've got to answer the phone. No one is responding. According to Riz Media, 42% of signed calls go to voicemail. That is criminal negligence. Voicemail? Are you joking me? The other statistic is about 80% of the people will do business with the first person who will answer the phone, but nobody answers the phone. Here's a great way to alienate everybody. When they call your company saying, will he know who this is? Will he know what it's regarding? I've had that 3 times this month, and I hope the company that did that to me, I hope you're watching this video, because it is the most annoying. I want to say, he'll know who it is if you'll put me through, and I'll tell him who it is. Will he know what it's regarding? When you put me through, I'll tell him. Sorry to rant, but stop doing that. If you're the President of the United States, sure, maybe you want to ask who's calling. If you're not, shut up and answer the phone. And by the way, some of the voicemail message, I got one the other day. Well, thanks for calling. I'm one of the best realtors in the entire planet Earth, and you can go to my website at don'twannatalktotou.com. And if you call between 2 and 3, I return my phone calls between 5 and 6. If you call after that, I'm not going to return your phone call at all. If you call on a Saturday, this is my personal time, and I'm not going to call. Just shut up. Answer the phone. And you say, well, I can't answer the phone. Well, if you can't answer it, somebody else need to do it. So answer the phone, determine their motivation, and get an appointment. And if you can't answer the phone, find somebody else to do it. And I'm not sorry I'm ranting. And I'm going to keep doing this until you finally answer the phone. I'm going to have to calm down a little bit right now to help you discover your personal values. Knox First Tuesday number 34 really focuses on what's important to you. And we came up with 3 different areas that affect your life: values, objectives, and goals. And when I talk about goals, it refers to the results that you get. What do you want to get out of life? It answers the question, what do you want? And you have no control over your goals, but you have a lot of control over the objectives that get you there. So the behavioral objectives talks about, well, how are you going to get what you want? And that focuses on what you are going to give. But a lot of people will set a goal and then they're not happy about it, or they don't know what goals to set. And usually what's missing is the heart of this, literally, is feelings. And when I say the heart of it, I mean literally. How do you feel? We get into the heart, the feelings. Why are you making money? Why do you do anything in your life? And if you're not in touch with your motivations, none of this stuff works. You know, you're not going to set a goal. So what this does is to help you get in touch with your values through one of the most powerful exercises I've ever done. And I'm not going to lead you through it in this video, but I'm going to encourage you to go to KFT 34. You will print out the value sheet that has 16 values, and I lead you through an exercise that helps you rank your values high, medium, and low, and then we go into some other steps that really helps you decide what it is you want out of your life and how to get there. So I encourage you to do that. And by the way, it's great to do with your children, husbands, and wives, and kind of share those things. The next video I'd like to address is KFT 41. Are you a messenger or a negotiator? One of my favorite videos. As a way of demonstrating it, here's kind of what happens. Somebody goes to a seller and they say, well, how much do you want? Well, I want to list it for $500,000. You go, okay, and you take it to the buyer, and the buyer says, well, I want to offer $400,000. And you go, okay, and the seller says, oh yeah, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to counter it at $490,000. Okay, you go back to the buyer. He says, well, I'm going to do this, and then they go back and they counter it. And these offers go back and forth and back and forth, and then the phone rings. Honey, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. I'm negotiating a contract. No, you're not. You're being a fax machine. In fact, a fax machine would be better. And a messenger merely relates the position of one party to the other. They serve no purpose. It just doesn't work. So what I want you guys to do, I want you to be a negotiator instead of a messenger, and that looks a little bit different. So when a seller says, well, I want to have $500,000 for my home, instead of saying, okay, what you do is use your skills to say, by the way, the market here indicates, you know, it's only worth $480,000 or $450,000 or whatever, and you use your skills to get them to the objective standard. Instead of having buyer and seller negotiate against each other, you have them negotiate against the objective standard, which is market value. And then when the buyer says, well, I want to come in low, you say, no, you can't do that, because here's the objective standard. Here's what the home is worth. Here's what the other homes in the neighborhood have sold for. And by the way, one of the ways I have suggested teaching a buyer market value, remember that game, The Price is Right, where you drive them around and have them guess the sale prices of 3 or 4 homes until they guess them right. That's one of the ways to do that. Next, I'll give you one of the techniques, feedback versus advice. When people say, well, should I accept the offer? What should I offer on this property? Instead of saying what to do, give them feedback. See, when you give them feedback, you're saying, well, here's what could happen if you come in low. But if you say, well, here's what I think you should do, that's when you get in trouble. When you give feedback, it's empowering, because you're saying, you know, here's what's going to happen if you do this. They are now empowered to do something. If you say, I think you should offer $285,000, well, you're limiting to only one outcome. When you give feedback, you let go. Here's what's going to happen if you price it at $500,000. You know, it's only a mobile home. Highest price we've seen here is $25,000, so I don't think you're going to get that. But when you start telling people what to do, you're taking control. When you let a seller price the home, they're responsible for it not selling. But if you gave them a price and said, here's where I think you should price it, then you're responsible. So go back and review KFT 41 and get more into this. Next, KFT 60 Financial Business Planning. I'm not going to go through this with you, but I want to remind you, there is an Excel spreadsheet in here. It's called version 2 Agent Income Production Worksheet. It is an Excel spreadsheet. You download, save, and you start typing in the numbers. We've done some examples here. The most fundamental thing you can do as an agent is do the math. Do the mathematics. Compute incomes. Compute ratios of listings and sales and commissions and all of this stuff. And you can go to an option A and enter your average price for listings and buyers, your commission side, your commission split with a company, how many leads, etc. And when you plug all these numbers in, the blue boxes give you your answers. And this says, well, here's your conversion rate. Here's how much money you're going to make. And you go through this and it's $123,000. You go, well, I want to do more than that. Well, then you start adjusting these numbers. This is a requirement. I think everybody watching this video, even if you've done this before, do it again. It is simple to figure out your income and what you need to do. So please take a look at KFT 60. And then 63. This is one of the videos that's in there that I think people miss out on. We've got to do a better job of explaining it. But the key part of this is basically a customer survey. And we have it in Microsoft Word, so you can download it, save it, put your logo in, and send it to your sellers. I've had 2 agents send me surveys. And when I call them up to say, hey, how does this work for you? They say, well, I get a listing or 2 a month. That's worth sending a survey. And basically what's in it is, you know, what information do you want from me? Properties for sale, market value, things like this. What is your current situation? I'm happy where I am. I'm thinking of moving. I want to remodel. So you're getting in touch with these people. And then determine their situation. Again, that question, how much longer do you plan to stay in your current home? Imagine if 200 surveys go out and even 100 come back, and out of the 100 you find 20 of them that are going to be moving within a year. That's pretty good. And then of course the question is, of all your friends and business associates, who do you think would be the next to make a move? And then one of the challenges that many of you have is nobody has landlines anymore. It's hard to get through to people. Nobody answers the phone. But they will open their mail, especially if it was hand addressed. And then you can find out email addresses, cell phones, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can start getting in touch with them that way. So I'm just going to encourage you to do KFT 63, print up some surveys and send them out. And then you'll be able to use KFT 76, close for the listing, because you'll have listing opportunities. And I want to remind you of some of these things. Let's begin by defining a close. Is a close getting a yes or no? The answer is yes, either one of those. It's getting a decision. What is not a close was somebody says, we want to think it over, or maybe, we don't know. By the way, your kids are the best closers in the world. Try this. Next time your kid comes and says, you know, can we go to Disneyland? Can we go out and get ice cream tonight? Can we go to McDonald's? If you say maybe, what will your kids say? And every time they'll go, is that a maybe yes or a maybe no? See, kids don't ever take maybe for an answer. I want a yes, I want to know. Are you going to break up with me? Well, maybe. Yes or no. Let me know. And getting a decision falls into 2 categories, emotional and physical. Emotional is the agreement to hire you to list their home. Physical is the actual signing of the papers that confirms. And here's what happens. People go on a listing presentation, you present your features and benefits, and aren't I great? Your goal is to get up to, let's say, a 10 on an acceptance scale. 10 is where they say, I like you and I want to hire you. And by the way, if you walk in the door and you show up on time and you're dressed well, you might be at a 2. And then you sit down and ask some questions. You get up to 3 or 4. You take your shoes off and respect their home. You start moving up. And as you present the features and benefits of your company and your listing presentation, at some point you're going to reach acceptance. And by the way, you might discuss commission, and that goes to a -10, and that's the way it goes. But at this point, you want a decision. Are they going to list with you, yes or no? And here's what often happens. You go through this whole presentation, and let me show you some of the options. You go through the whole presentation, you say, gosh, I'm great, and they go, great, we nod the head, and then at the end you do a trial close. You go, well, how did you like what I've done? And they go, well, it's really nice. So what'd you think of it? Well, we think you're pretty good. We like your company. Great. So you like it then, huh? Yeah. Well, okay then. Well, okay, do you have any questions then? Any questions for me? No, I think we're pretty good. Well then, okay, well, no further questions. Okay, well thanks a lot for your time then, it was really good, and okay, well I guess better be getting going here then. You sure no more questions? Okay, all right, see you later. Even as you're watching this, you're thinking, something is wrong. You get the car, drive away, and people say, well, how was the listing presentation going? I don't know, I think it's pretty good. Well, did they list with you? No, why not? I guess I don't know. Did you ever ask them to list with you? No. Ask them to list. And when you ask somebody to list, here's what you do. The first thing you do is you hand them the document. You slide it across the table right under them. And then what you do is you take a pen and you put it in their hand. If you have to grab their fingers and put the pen in there, say, I need your agreement right here. And maybe you start with a disclosure form or something easy rather than a listing agreement. But it doesn't matter. The definition of closing, the physical, is, Mr. Seller, by the way, here's our agreement that allows me to market your home. Jim, I need you right there. Here, Jim, take this pen. No, take the pen. And put it in their hands. Say, I need you to sign right here. Okay, Sherry, yep, I need you right there. That's the definition of closing. This is also the point of go, wait a minute, you're going a little bit too fast. We want to talk about your commission. We talk about pricing, and it raises objections. The whole point of closing is to get a yes or a no, or the objections in between. So try this next time, and I want to hear from you. Put the pen in their hand. That is closing. Let's take a look at KFT 99. That was the one we just released, and I just wanted to remind you of that video. If you haven't watched it, we had the opportunity to interview Jeb Blunt, who is the author of Fanatical Prospecting. A friend of mine assigned the book to me. He said, "Hey, David, you'd love this." I read it, and I thought, I got to get this guy on video. And he couldn't come in the studio, but he agreed to a Skype interview, and it's a 4-part interview. It starts with KFT 99. It goes into a Real Estate Live. And some of the key things that came out of there. Number one, prospecting requires interrupting. Sit on that. You have to bother people. You have to interrupt people to make money in this business. And a lot of you say, well, I don't like bothering people. I don't like taking their time. You have no other choice. The old concept of sales and prospecting is to make a call, to knock on a door, to send them. Whatever you're doing is interrupting them, so do it. But if you're going to interrupt them, call, then get to the point. And one of the things I used to teach when I'm not doing anymore, I used to say, well, call and say, is this a good time to call? Well, it's not a good time to call. We already know it's not. So instead, call them and say, hey, this is David Knox. I'm calling today because the market has done some amazing changes that directly affect the value of your home, and I'd like to tell you about it. Is now a good time? At least you get to the point. And then, I've said it a million times, time blocking. Key thing, Jeb, he really beats this up. He says you need to do time blocking. You decide maybe this is going to be open house time. This is for sale by honor calling. Maybe this is the time you're going to call your past customers and clients. And you put yourself in there, you lock the door, get a cup of coffee, you turn off your email, turn off Facebook, turn off everything, and you focus on this. And the only way you come out is if one of your kids is on fire. And even then you might find, well, which kid is it? You know, but you stay focused on that. It's hard to do because I know you guys are like me. You're all over the place. You can go one place, 3 things. You go over here, you go over there, and you lose track of where you're going. But if you really want to be good at this business, bother people and do it for an hour at a time and move on with it. That's how you make money in the business. So in summary, the secret to any endeavor is to master the fundamentals, whether it's football, golf, selling, doesn't matter what it is. The top people in any profession have mastered the fundamentals. And when you do that, you don't have to worry about all the stupid advanced techniques. Do the little things that work, like talk to people. Don't be distracted by the next little shiny tech tool. Oh, look at this app. Oh, look at this. Let's hide behind. Oh, look at this. It's really a cool app. And people get all excited about this stuff. When in fact, what you need to be doing is talking to people. And that leads me to the third thing. The goal of every real estate method taught by anyone, anytime, is to get face to face with a customer. In fact, the easiest way to do that is to get up after this video, drive out to the next listing you have, and knock on the door and go face to face with the people right now. It cuts through all the technology. You start meeting people. That's where you make money in the business. And when I interview agents on our Real Estate Lives, even the young ones that are doing all the high-tech stuff, they say, David, the way I make my money is to get face to face with people. By the way, those of you watching this free public version, we actually decided to give you the entire thing beginning to end. I thought it was a good overview of all of our videos. And I'd like to say to you all, I appreciate you watching the free version. I would like to invite you to join Real Estate Training by DavidKnox.com. Then you'll get access to all 100 of these in their entirety. You'll get all the support materials that go along with it. You'll also get pretty close to another 300 videos in Real Estate Live and all the other things that we've done. And this is a great way to train your agents. We've also added a new tool called accountability plans, where you can assign and monitor videos, tasks, and actions to keep your agents focused on the things that count, the income producing. We have taken it to an entirely new level. You can upload your own documents, your own videos. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff that we've got. So I want you to take a look at it, give me a call, and then you might be the next one to say this.
I have been using David Knox for 15, 20 years, and I can tell you it's phenomenal. The training is on point every month. You get a little video that gives you an advertisement of what you can expect this month, and you can pick and choose what you need to work on for that month. I have my sales associates watch it daily. We try to do 5 a week is our goal at our office, and I can tell you it's well worth your time. Love the mobile app for David Knox. I listen to it every day on the way to work. You can just plug it right into your phone, listen to it in your car as you're driving. For my new sales associates, we all have a goal of 5 David Knox a week. If you just drip it in just a little bit every week, guaranteed to make you successful.